Listen carefully. Hello and welcome. I'm Florence Scovel Shinn, and today I'm going to share with you an ancient spiritual technology that has the power to turn your 8 hours of sleep from a passive state of rest into an active wealth creation machine. This isn't about positive affirmations that don't work. This isn't about wishful thinking or manifesting. This is about a proven ritual rooted in timeless wisdom that works with your subconscious mind while you sleep. What if I told you that the last 7 minutes before you fall asleep could completely transform your financial future? That those final moments before your conscious mind shuts down might be the most powerful time to reprogram your mind for wealth and abundance. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Has this ever happened to you? You climb into bed after a long day, exhausted and ready for rest. But instead of peaceful slumber, your mind races with worries about unpaid bills, that argument with your spouse, or the endless to-do list waiting for you tomorrow. You toss and turn, marinating in financial anxiety, and then wonder why you wake up feeling drained, defeated, and still broke. You're not alone. Most people unknowingly use those precious moments before sleep to program their subconscious with lack, limitation, and fear. They're literally instructing their most powerful internal ally to create more struggle in their lives. And they do this night after night in an endless cycle of financial frustration. But what if there was a better way? What if you could use those same moments to plant seeds of abundance instead? What if you could harness the incredible power of your sleeping mind to solve problems, attract opportunities, and create wealth while you rest? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might surprise you. This 7-minute ritual has transformed the financial lives of thousands of my students. People who were drowning in debt, now living debt-free. Entrepreneurs who were struggling to make ends meet, now running thriving businesses. Individuals who felt financially stuck, now experiencing the flow of prosperity in ways they never thought possible. The secret lies in understanding a profound truth that both ancient spiritual traditions and modern neuroscience confirm. Your brain enters a unique and receptive state in those twilight moments between wakefulness and sleep. Your critical mind, the gatekeeper that usually rejects new ideas, temporarily steps aside. The barrier between your conscious and subconscious mind thins, creating a precious window of opportunity for reprogramming. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal exactly how to leverage this powerful transitional state. You'll learn the 3-part ritual I call the 3R method: review, release, and reprogram. Each component works together to clear away the mental debris, blocking your prosperity, and plant powerful seeds of abundance that will grow while you sleep. You see, I believe this wisdom isn't meant to be hoarded or kept secret. This transformative ritual has the power to create a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own life. When you begin to shift your relationship with wealth, it doesn't just change your bank account. It changes your entire mindset, your family's future, and potentially generations to come. This is precisely why I've made it my personal mission to reach 50,000 subscribers this year. Every single person who discovers these ancient money secrets represents a family that can break free from poverty thinking, a child who won't inherit limiting beliefs about money, and a potential legacy of abundance that might extend for generations. Your decision to join this community doesn't just support my work. It helps create a movement of financial awakening that can touch countless lives. The hidden truth I've discovered through my journey of studying these ancient wisdom traditions is that prosperity isn't just about accumulating money. It's about aligning with the natural flow of abundance that permeates our universe. When you remove the mental blocks and limiting beliefs that have been unconsciously programmed into your mind, often during those vulnerable moments before sleep, you don't have to struggle and strain for wealth. It begins to flow to you through unexpected channels, perfect timing, and what others might call lucky breaks. For those who feel called to go even deeper into these teachings, I've created an inner circle through channel membership. This isn't for everyone. It's specifically for those who are truly committed to their financial transformation. As a member, you'll receive exclusive revelations that I simply cannot share publicly, early access to each new teaching, and specialized guidance tailored to accelerate your prosperity journey. The resources available to members represent the culmination of decades studying these principles and witnessing their impact on countless lives. Now, I want to go even deeper into understanding why this 7-minute ritual works so powerfully. Did you know that according to ancient wisdom traditions, sleep is considered to be 160th of death? This isn't meant to be morbid. Rather, it's a profound insight into the nature of consciousness. During sleep, something remarkable happens. Your conscious mind, with all its doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs, temporarily steps aside. Your soul, your higher self, ascends to spiritual realms, while your subconscious mind, the true engine of creation in your life, is left open and receptive. Think of your subconscious as a fertile garden ready for planting each night. The question is, what seeds are you planting? Most people unwittingly sow weeds of worry, doubt, and scarcity, then wonder why these same patterns keep sprouting in their waking lives. If you've ever found yourself asking, "Why does this keep happening to me?" This is exactly why. If you're resonating with this message so far, write in the comments, "My garden is ready for new seeds." I'd love to know you're with me on this transformative path. The wisdom keepers of ancient traditions understood something profound about our nightly journey into sleep, something that modern science is only beginning to validate. Sleep isn't merely rest, it's a mystical doorway. This is why, in ancient texts, sleep is described as being 160th of death. Far from being morbid, this insight reveals the extraordinary opportunity that awaits us each night. During these sacred hours, a remarkable transformation occurs within your consciousness. Your everyday mind, the part of you that doubts, fears, and clings to limiting beliefs about what's possible for your and financial life, temporarily steps aside. The constant chatter of thoughts that usually fills your awareness grows quiet. Your soul, your higher self, ascends to realms beyond the physical, connecting with wisdom and inspiration unavailable during waking hours. And most importantly for our wealth journey, your subconscious mind, the true architect of your reality, lies open and receptive. This is the hidden revelation that wealthy, successful people have understood throughout history. The rich don't just make better decisions during their waking hours. They utilize the power of sleep as a catalyst for their prosperity. They recognize that those final moments before drifting off represent the most potent opportunity for reprogramming the deepest patterns in their psyche. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people never confront. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between positive and negative programming. Like a fertile garden, it simply grows whatever seeds are planted. And what are most people planting night after night? Seeds of chaos, seeds of lack, seeds of worry. They replay arguments, fixate on bills they can't pay, revisit failures, and marinate in anxiety about tomorrow's challenges. Is it any wonder they wake up exhausted even after a full night's sleep? Their mind has been working overtime, watering and nurturing these toxic seeds of financial stress. They're using the most powerful manifestation period, those 8 hours of sleep, to strengthen the very patterns they're trying to break free from during waking hours. The consequence of this unconscious pattern ripples through every aspect of their lives. They wake up already behind, already defeated, already broke, not just financially but energetically. Their intuitive guidance system, that inner compass that guides us toward opportunity, is clouded by the residue of these nocturnal thought patterns. Potential breakthroughs remain unseen, creative solutions stay locked away, and the synchronicities that lead to financial windfalls fail to materialize. What we're uncovering here is not just a technique, but a fundamental shift in understanding the architecture of prosperity. The wealthy have always known that true abundance begins in the inner landscape of thought, particularly those thoughts that bridge the gap between conscious and unconscious awareness. If you've experienced this pattern of waking up already feeling financially behind, type "breaking the IEO cycle" in the comments below. So, what do the wealthy, the wise, and the spiritually attuned do differently in those critical moments before sleep? They've discovered a profound truth. The last 7 minutes before you drift into unconsciousness are the foundation upon which your next 8 hours are built. Those 8 hours then become the foundation for your next day. And your days, strung together like pearls on a necklace, become your life. This insight transforms sleep from a passive activity into a powerful catalyst for financial breakthrough. The wealthy elite aren't just strategic during business hours. They're methodical about how they conclude each day. They guard their mental state before sleep like a sacred temple, knowing that whatever thoughts cross that threshold will multiply throughout the night. They don't scroll through social media, exposing themselves to comparison and lack. They don't watch the news, filling their minds with crisis and scarcity. They don't engage in heated discussions that leave emotional residue. Instead, they intentionally design their pre-leap mental environment to foster prosperity consciousness. Behind the scenes of every great fortune lies this hidden discipline, the careful curation of those final moments before sleep. This isn't just positive thinking, it's strategic consciousness management. It's understanding that your mind, like any powerful tool, can either work for you or against you during those 8 hours of sleep. What I'm about to share with you is what I call the 3-year ritual. Review, release, and reprogram. It takes just 7 minutes to complete, yet its impact on your financial destiny can be immeasurable. I've distilled this practice from ancient spiritual technologies that have been used for thousands of years to reprogram the soul, but I've modernized it specifically to activate wealth consciousness while you sleep. This ritual creates a bridge between timeless wisdom and cutting-edge neuroscience. The spiritual traditions have always known what researchers are now confirming in laboratories. The transition state between wakefulness and sleep represents a unique opportunity for profound transformation. It's during this liminal space that the barriers between your conscious and subconscious mind temporarily dissolve, allowing for direct reprogramming of your deepest patterns. Think of this 7-minute ritual as the spiritual equivalent of defragmenting your mental computer, clearing out corrupted wealth programming, and installing new software that automatically runs in the background while you sleep. Each component of the ritual serves a specific purpose in reconfiguring your relationship with abundance at the deepest level of your being. What makes this approach different from typical wealth manifestation techniques is that it works with not against the natural rhythms of consciousness. Rather than fighting your mind's tendencies, we'll be harnessing its innate power during its most receptive state. This is the essence of spiritual technology, working in harmony with the architecture of consciousness to create profound change with minimal resistance. If you're ready to transform your relationship with wealth at this fundamental level, type spiritual technology in the comments. Let me reveal the fascinating science behind why this 7-minute ritual holds such transformative power. Modern neuroscience has now confirmed what ancient spiritual traditions have taught for millennia. The threshold between wakefulness and sleep represents a unique window of opportunity, a portal where the conscious and subconscious minds momentarily merge, creating the perfect conditions for profound reprogramming. Brain researchers have identified distinct brainwave patterns that correlate with different states of consciousness. During your normal waking hours, your brain primarily operates in what's called beta state. This is your analytical, critical, problem-solving mind. It's excellent for navigating the practical world, but it also acts as a gatekeeper, filtering and often rejecting new ideas that don't match your existing beliefs about wealth and what's possible for you. But something remarkable happens as you begin to drift towards sleep. Your brain waves gradually shift from beta into alpha state, a relaxed meditative condition where creativity flourishes and the mind becomes significantly more receptive to new programming. Then, as you move closer to sleep, you enter theta state, a dreamlike consciousness, where the barrier between your conscious and subconscious mind temporarily dissolves. This transition period, known scientifically as the hypnagogic state, is when your critical mind, the part that says, "That's impossible," or "You'll never be wealthy," goes offline. The mental bouncer that normally guards the door to your subconscious steps away from its post. In this moment, the gateway to your deeper mind stands wide open, creating a rare opportunity to plant seeds directly into the fertile soil of your subconscious. The revelation that many miss is that this natural daily occurrence represents your most powerful manifestation moment. Every single night, you have access to this optimal state for mental reprogramming. Yet most people squander it by focusing on worries, replaying problems, or exposing themselves to the negative news cycle right before bed. What we're doing with the 3 ritual is strategically harnessing this natural brain state transition. We're working with your neurological architecture rather than against it. This isn't about forcing your mind to accept new beliefs through repetition or willpower. It's about understanding the rhythm and flow of consciousness and inserting new programming precisely when your mind is naturally most receptive. This explains why affirmations or visualization practices often yield disappointing results when done during normal waking consciousness. Your decritical mind operating in beta state simply rejects them as untrue. But those same techniques, when applied during the alpha-theta transition of pre-leap bypass the critical faculty entirely and embed directly into your subconscious, the true command center of your financial reality. If this 7-minute ritual resonates with you, hit that subscribe button and join our abundance community. I share powerful wealth secrets that most financial gurus don't want you to know. The journey to wealth begins not with external actions, but with internal alignment. And there is no more powerful moment for creating this alignment than the sacred transition from wakefulness to sleep. This understanding has been a closely guarded secret among the wealthy throughout history, using these lineal brain states to program success while others sleep in a state of unconscious self-sabotage. If you've ever experienced that creative floating feeling right before falling asleep, type alpha theta in the comments. you felt this powerful brain state firsthand. This understanding of the brain's receptive pre-sleep state isn't just spiritual wisdom. It's a psychological insight that major corporations have been exploiting for decades. Have you ever wondered why advertisers pay millions of dollars for those primetime evening television slots? It's not just about audience size. There's a hidden truth at play. They know that whatever messages enter your mind in those final waking hours will be processed all night long while you sleep. The media you consume before bed isn't just passive entertainment. It's programming that embeds itself deep into your psyche. Those commercials featuring luxury cars, exotic vacations, and beautiful homes aren't just trying to sell you products in the moment. They're planting seeds in your subconscious that will be watered and cultivated throughout your 8 hours of sleep, forming deeper neural pathways by morning. They're shaping your desires, your sense of lack, and ultimately your purchasing behavior, all while you're completely unaware. This revelation forces us to ask a crucial question. If advertisers understand and harness this power, shouldn't you be even more intentional about what enters your mind before sleep? The corporations are planting their seeds in your garden every night. The question is, are you going to let them determine what grows in your mental landscape, or will you take control and plant your own seeds of abundance? The wealthy elite intuitively understand this principle of mental sovereignty. Study the evening routines of self-made millionaires and billionaires, and you'll discover a consistent pattern that transcends culture, industry, and background. They guard their pre-sleep mental state like a sacred sanctuary. They create boundaries that protect this crucial transition period from external influences that might compromise their prosperity consciousness. They don't watch the evening news with its parade of crises, economic downturns, and scarcity narratives. They don't scroll endlessly through social media, exposing themselves to comparison and envy. They don't engage in stressful conversations that leave emotional residue in their psyche. Instead, they intentionally curate the final thoughts that enter their mind because they understand a fundamental truth. Those thoughts will determine tomorrow's reality. This isn't just about positive thinking. It's about strategic consciousness management. The wealthy create deliberate pre-sleep rituals that align their mind with abundance, opportunity, and solution-focused thinking. They review their victories, express gratitude for progress, and visualize their next level of success as already accomplished. They're not just preparing for sleep. They're preparing for wealth creation while they sleep. The transformation begins when you recognize that your nighttime routine isn't just about physical rest. It's about mental preparation for prosperity. Your mind will work tirelessly through the night, solving problems, making connections, and creating your reality based on the instructions you give it before falling asleep. The quality of those instructions determines the quality of your financial future. If you're ready to reclaim this powerful time and stop letting external forces program your prosperity, type mental sovereignty in the comments below. Now, let's dive into the first component of the 3-year ritual, review. This initial 3-minute practice is rooted in an ancient spiritual concept called Cheshbon Hanesh, an accounting of the soul. Traditionally, this was a practice of moral introspection, examining one's actions and choices. But we're going to apply this powerful technique specifically to your relationship with abundance. Here's the paradigm shift that makes this practice so revolutionary. Most people, when they review their day, instinctively focus on what went wrong, what's missing, where they failed, or what they lack. This habitual pattern of deficit-focused thinking creates a perceptual filter that literally blinds you to the abundance that surrounds you every single day. The review component of our ritual flips this pattern on its head. For 3 minutes, You'll engage in a deliberate, intentional hunt for what I call sparks of abundance. Those moments, experiences, and evidences of prosperity that you encountered throughout your day, but may have overlooked or taken for granted. This isn't about fake positivity or pretending your challenges don't exist. It's about training your mind to perceive the complete reality, not just the lacks and limitations, but also the prosperity and provision that's constantly flowing through your life. It's a fundamental recalibration of your abundance radar. The revelation that transforms lives is understanding that abundance isn't something you achieve someday in the future. It's something you learn to perceive in the present. Most people are blind to the prosperity already existing in their lives because they've been conditioned to focus exclusively on what's missing. When you engage in this nightly review, you're essentially strengthening your abundance muscle. You're training your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information and determines what you notice, to become exquisitely sensitive to evidence of prosperity. And here's the miracle. What you consistently notice expands during your 3-minute review. Close your eyes and mentally replay your day like a movie. But with a specific mission, you're hunting for those sparks of abundance. Did someone buy you coffee? That's a spark. Did you find a great parking spot? A spark. Did a client pay an invoice? A spark. Did you have a healthy meal? A spark. Did your child give you a hug? A massive spark. Did you wake up this morning with breath in your lungs? That's the greatest spark of all, the gift of life itself. The breakthrough occurs when you realize that no spark is too small to acknowledge. Each recognition builds your prosperity consciousness. Each acknowledgement rewires your neural pathways to perceive abundance rather than scarcity. Over time, this practice doesn't just change your perception, it changes your reality. If you're recognizing how this simple shift in awareness could fundamentally change your relationship with money, type abundance radar activated in the comments. Let me share with you a profound mystical teaching that illuminates why this abundance-seeking practice holds such transformative power. In the teacher, Ancient Wisdom of Kabbalah, there's a beautiful concept that explains the very nature of our reality. The teaching suggests that in the beginning, God's infinite light or divine abundance filled all of existence completely. But in order to create a world where free will and growth were possible, God performed what's called the Zimsum, a divine contraction or concealment of this infinite light. This contraction didn't eliminate the light. It simply concealed it behind what mystics call kipo or shells. The divine abundance, the Shifa, is still flowing constantly through every moment, every interaction, every breath. But it's hidden, waiting to be recognized and revealed through our conscious awareness. The light is there in your bank account, whether it holds $5 or $5,000. The light is there in your business challenges. The light is there in every relationship, every obstacle, every apparent setback. Our spiritual mission as human beings is to find these hidden sparks of light, to recognize the blessings that are concealed within the seemingly mundane moments of our lives, and to elevate them back to their source through our acknowledgement. This isn't just mystical poetry. It's a practical tool for rewiring the very way your brain perceives reality. What's fascinating is how perfectly this ancient spiritual understanding aligns with modern neuroscience. Your brain contains what scientists call the reticular activating system, or RA. This remarkable network serves as your perception filter, sifting through the millions of bits of information, bombarding your senses at every moment and deciding what deserves your conscious attention. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that your RS is programmable. It filters reality based on what you consistently focus on and what you believe is important. If you train your RA to look for lack, limitation, and scarcity, that's exactly what it will find, even in circumstances of objective abundance. But if you train it to look for prosperity, opportunity, and blessing, it will begin to highlight these aspects of reality instead. This explains why two people can experience the exact same external circumstances, yet perceive them completely differently. One sees only problems, the other sees possibilities. One notices only what's lacking. The other recognizes the abundant resources available. The difference isn't in their external reality, but in the programming of their perceptual filters. The review component of our ritual is essentially a practical method for reprogramming your RA to align with the spiritual truth of abundance. When you deliberately hunt for sparks of prosperity in your daily experience, you're training your perceptual filters to become exquisitely sensitive to the evidence of abundance that surrounds you at all times. This is the alchemy where spirituality and neuroscience merge, where ancient wisdom and modern brain science reveal the same profound truth. You quite literally see what you're looking for. And what you consistently see shapes what you consistently create in your material experience. If this merger of spiritual wisdom and brain science is illuminating something for you, type "seeing abundance" in the comments below. Let me make this even more tangible by sharing some practical examples of what these abundant sparks actually look like in daily life. Remember, we're training your perception to notice prosperity that's already present, but often overlooked. The key insight is that abundance isn't just about money in the bank. It appears in countless forms throughout your day. When someone buys you a coffee, that's a spark of abundance. The universe provided nourishment through another person's generosity. When you find a great parking spot right in front of your destination, that's a spark. The flow of ease and convenience manifesting in your life. When a client pays an invoice, that's an obvious spark. The direct exchange of value you created returning to you as financial prosperity. But the journey of abundance consciousness goes deeper. That healthy meal you enjoyed, that's life-giving nourishment, a profound spark of abundance. The hug from your child or loved one, that's emotional prosperity, a form of wealth that no money can buy. And perhaps most fundamentally, the simple fact that you woke up this morning with breath in your lungs, that's the ultimate abundance spark, the gift of life itself, the foundation upon which all other prosperity is built. The breakthrough moment comes when you realize that these sparks aren't random or insignificant. They're evidence of an underlying pattern of provision flowing through your life. They're the visible manifestations of that concealed divine light we discussed earlier. And by deliberately acknowledging them, you're essentially telling your subconscious mind, "Show me more of this." Let me share a real-life transformation that illustrates the power of this practice. One of my clients, Michael, was a real estate agent who had hit a devastating plateau in his business. For 6 months, he hadn't closed a single significant deal. His bank account was dwindling, his confidence was shattered, and he was convinced that abundance had simply abandoned him. I gave him this review practice as a nightly assignment. The first night, he called me frustrated. "Florence, this is ridiculous," he said. "I only found 3 sparks in my entire day. My coffee, a client who actually answered my call, and the fact that I didn't get a flat tire. This feels forced and fake." I explained to Michael that his abundance muscle was atrophied from lack of use. Like any muscle, it needed consistent training to grow stronger. "Stick with it," I told him. 3 sparks is a beginning. The metamorphosis that followed was remarkable. By the 3rd night, Michael found 7 sparks. By the end of the week, he easily identified 10. Within 2 weeks, he was finding 15 to 20 sparks of abundance each day. His perception was literally being rewired to recognize prosperity that had been there all along. The external shift mirrored his internal transformation. He began seeing opportunities in his real estate market that he'd been blind to before. He noticed referrals he hadn't been following up on. He recognized gratitude from past clients that he could leverage into new connections. Within a month, his entire energy had shifted. He was no longer operating from desperation, but from an authentic sense of abundance. The results? Michael closed $47,000 in commissions the following month, more than double his previous best month ever. Not because anything in the external market had changed, but because everything in his internal landscape had transformed. If you're curious about how this perception shift might transform your own financial reality, type abundance perception in the comments. Let me illuminate what's happening on a neurological level when you engage in this nightly review practice. Your brain isn't just a static organ, it's an incredibly dynamic network that's constantly rewiring itself based on your focused attention. Scientists call this phenomenon neuroplasticity. Your neural pathways physically reorganize based on what you consistently think about and notice. When you deliberately hunt for evidence of abundance each night, you're essentially creating new neural highways in your brain, pathways that automatically detect opportunity instead of obstacles, blessings instead of burdens, and prosperity instead of poverty. This isn't metaphorical. It's a literal rewiring of your brain's physical architecture. Think of it as creating a new default setting in your consciousness. Most people's mental operating system runs on a scarcity program that automatically scans for what's wrong, what's missing, what's threatening. But through this consistent practice, you're installing a prosperity program that naturally recognizes abundance even in challenging circumstances. The profound revelation here is that this mental shift precedes the physical manifestation of wealth. Your external financial reality doesn't change first. Your perception changes first, and then your reality reorganizes itself to match your new mental patterning. This is why so many wealth creation strategies fail. They try to change the outer circumstances without first transforming the inner landscape that created those circumstances. I want to share a powerful catalyst that can accelerate this transformation. Keep a small journal beside your bed specifically for this practice. After you complete your mental review each night, take one additional minute to write down your top 3 abundant sparks from the day. This simple act creates a compound effect in your neurological programming. The science behind this enhancement is fascinating. When you only think about your abundant sparks, you're engaging primarily the visual and emotional centers of your brain. But when you physically write them down, you activate additional neural pathways, the motor cortex, the language centers, and deeper memory encoding structures. You're essentially recording this prosperity programming twice, first through thought and then through physical action. Over time, this journal becomes something even more powerful, a tangible record of the abundance that flows through your life. On difficult days, when old scarcity thinking threatens to resurface, you can flip through these pages and remind yourself of the hundreds of prosperity sparks you've documented. It becomes undeniable evidence that abundance isn't just a concept or a wish. It's a consistent pattern in your lived experience. The transformation this creates isn't just financial, it's existential. You begin to move through the world as a different person. Your energy shifts, your decisions change, your intuitive guidance system becomes attuned to opportunity. And most importantly, you stop blocking the natural flow of prosperity that was always trying to reach you, but was being filtered out by your scarcity perception. This journaling enhancement creates what I call a prosperity feedback loop. Each documented spark makes you more likely to notice future sparks which you then document, making you even more perceptive to abundance and so on in an upward spiral of expanding prosperity consciousness. If you're feeling drawn to implement this practice in your own life tonight, type Prosperity Journal in the comments. Now, let's explore the second powerful component of our ritual release. This crucial 2-minute practice addresses a fundamental truth about wealth creation that most manifestation teachings completely miss. After you've reviewed the good in your day and strengthened your abundance awareness, you must intentionally release all the worries, fears, and anxieties that have accumulated in your consciousness. You simply cannot take these burdens with you into sleep. Here's the hidden truth. If you carry your financial stresses into sleep, your subconscious mind will process them all night long. It will create deeper neural pathways of worry, reinforce patterns of scarcity, and further cement an identity built around financial struggle. You'll wake up with these patterns even more deeply embedded than before. This is why so many people wake up feeling defeated before the day even begins. They've spent 8 hours strengthening the very thought patterns they're trying to escape. King David, who experienced both tremendous abundance and devastating loss throughout his life, understood this principle thousands of years ago. In Psalm 48, he wrote, "In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." This wasn't just poetic spiritual sentiment. It was profound psychological and physiological wisdom. When you enter sleep in a state of financial anxiety, your body remains in what scientists call sympathetic nervous system dominance, the fight or flight state. Your cortisol levels stay elevated. Your heart rate remains higher than optimal. Your muscles maintain subtle tension. Your breathing stays shallow. The regenerative processes that should be occurring during sleep are compromised. The devastating consequence is that you wake up exhausted even after 8 hours of sleep. Your body never truly entered the deep restorative states it needs because it was physiologically responding to the financial stressors you brought into sleep. You were essentially in a subtle state of emergency all night, fighting invisible battles in your mind instead of rejuvenating your body and spirit. The release component of our ritual creates a profound shift in this pattern. It allows you to enter sleep from a state of peace rather than panic, trust rather than terror. When you release your burdens before sleep, your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode, can fully activate. Your heart rate naturally slows, your breathing deepens, your muscles release their tension, your cells enter repair mode, your immune system strengthens. The blueprint for transformation is clear. You must create a conscious boundary between your daytime financial concerns and your sacred sleep space. Not because you're ignoring your challenges, but because you're creating the optimal physiological and psychological conditions to address them effectively tomorrow. This release practice isn't about pretending your financial challenges don't exist. It's about creating a strategic pause in your relationship with them, a temporary surrendering that allows your entire being to reset and regenerate. It's the mental equivalent of putting down a heavy backpack you've been carrying all day, allowing your muscles to recover before picking it up again. If you've ever experienced how differently you approach problems after a truly restful night's sleep, type peaceful surrender in the comments. Let me reveal the profound physiological impact of how you enter sleep each night. When you go to bed with your mind still churning over financial worries, unpaid bills, or business challenges, your body doesn't just hear these thoughts, it physically responds to them. Your nervous system can't distinguish between an actual threat and a visualized one. Whether you're facing a predator or just imagining next month's mortgage payment that you're not sure how to make, your body activates the same survival mechanisms. This triggers what scientists call the sympathetic nervous system, your body's emergency response network. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline flood your bloodstream. Your heart rate elevates. Your blood pressure rises. Your muscles maintain a subtle tension. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your digestive system slows. Your immune function decreases. It's a full-body state of subtle emergency. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that this physiological state is completely incompatible with the deep restorative sleep your body needs. When you enter sleep in this stress-activated state, you may lose consciousness, but your body remains in a defensive posture all night long. Your sleep is shallow and fragmented. Your brain can't properly cycle through the essential sleep stages needed for true restoration. This explains why so many people wake up exhausted even after sleeping for 8 full hours. They weren't really sleeping. They were in a state of unconscious stress all night. Their body was fighting invisible battles instead of engaging in the critical processes of repair and regeneration. It's like running a marathon in your sleep and then wondering why you're tired in the morning. The contrast when you implement the release practice is nothing short of revolutionary. As you consciously release each worry and burden before sleep, your body shifts from emergency mode into what scientists call parasympathetic dominance, the rest and digest state. This is the body's recovery mode, where healing and regeneration naturally occur. Your heart rate gradually slows to its optimal resting rhythm. Your breathing deepens, delivering more oxygen to every cell. Your muscles fully release their tension. Your blood pressure normalizes. Your digestive system reactivates. Your immune system strengthens. The regenerative hormones that rebuild your body's tissues are released in optimal amounts. The journey toward wealth begins with this fundamental physiological shift. When you enter sleep from a state of peace rather than panic, your body can fully engage in its nighttime restoration processes. You wake up truly refreshed with your physical energy, mental clarity, and emotional resilience at their peak. You're literally a different person, someone equipped to recognize opportunities, solve problems creatively, and take inspired action toward prosperity. The breakthrough insight is that financial transformation doesn't begin with external strategies. It begins with internal harmony. The state of your nervous system creates the foundation for either struggle or success. When you prioritize physiological peace before sleep, you're not just getting better rest. You're creating the optimal biological conditions for wealth creation the next day. This is the missing link between consciousness and manifestation that most abundance teachings overlook. Your thoughts don't create your reality in isolation. They create physiological states that either support or sabotage your prosperity journey. If you've noticed how differently you approach financial challenges after a truly restful night's sleep, type physiological prosperity in the comments. Let me share with you the exact visualization technique for the release component of our ritual. This powerful mental practice takes just 2 minutes, yet it creates a profound shift in your energy before sleep. For this visualization, you're going to use the metaphor of a backpack filled with heavy stones, each stone representing one of your financial worries, debts, business problems, relationship issues, or health concerns. Begin by sitting comfortably with your eyes closed. Take a deep breath and bring your awareness to the sensation of weight on your shoulders. Visualize all of your daily burdens as physical stones that you've been carrying in a backpack throughout your day. Feel the heaviness of this weight. Feel how it presses down on your body, restricting your movement, draining your energy. This isn't about suppressing your challenges or pretending they don't exist. Quite the opposite. We begin by fully acknowledging the weight you've been carrying. Feel it completely. Notice how long you've been carrying these burdens, perhaps some for years. Recognize the toll they've taken on your spirit, your creativity, your sense of possibility. Now comes the transformative moment. In your mind's eye, visualize yourself standing before the throne of the divine. However you conceive of this higher power, whether as God, Source, Universe, or simply a loving presence, see yourself approaching this sacred space. The throne is radiating with warm, loving light. It feels like home. It feels like safety. It feels like acceptance. The revelation that changes everything is seeing that this divine presence is not waiting to judge you or condemn you for your financial mistakes or struggles. This is not a harsh authority figure keeping score of your failures. Rather, you're standing before a loving parent, a compassionate ally who wants to see you thrive and prosper. This presence is waiting with open arms to help you to lighten your load, to provide the solutions you cannot see from your limited perspective. One by one, with deliberate intention, reach into your metaphorical backpack and remove each stone. As you hold each worry in your hands, the unpaid bill, the struggling business, the debt that keeps you awake at night, acknowledge its weight, and then gently place it at the feet of this loving presence. With each stone you surrender, say inwardly, "This is too heavy for me to carry tonight. I'm giving this to you. I trust that you can handle what I cannot." This isn't a psychological trick. It's a spiritual transaction. You're not ignoring your problems. You're acknowledging that there is a higher wisdom, a greater perspective, a loving force that can hold these burdens while you rest. You're creating a sanctuary of trust that allows your entire being to regenerate as you place the final stone at the divine feet. Feel the complete lightness of being unburdened. Feel your shoulders relaxing, your breath deepening, your mind clearing. Feel the profound peace that comes from surrender. This is the state from which true sleep, rejuvenative healing sleep, becomes possible. The journey of wealth creation requires periods of complete unburdening, moments when you fully release the weight of financial striving and rest in the awareness that you are supported by forces greater than yourself. This nightly practice creates that essential space of trust and surrender. If you're feeling called to release your financial burdens through this sacred visualization, type "divine surrender" in the comments below. As you practice this release visualization, something remarkable begins to happen. With each stone you place at the divine feet, you experience a tangible lightening of your being. It's not just metaphorical. You can actually feel the weight lifting from your shoulders, your chest expanding, your breath deepening. The mental burden that felt so crushing just moments ago begins to dissolve, replaced by a profound sense of spaciousness and possibility. By the time you've released the final stone, your metaphorical backpack is completely empty. You are light. You are free. You are unburdened. This state of peaceful surrender is the optimal condition for entering sleep. Not running from your challenges, but having placed them in capable hands for the night. You've created a sanctuary of trust that allows every cell in your body to fully relax and regenerate. What makes this practice so transformative is understanding that it's not merely a psychological technique or a self-soothing visualization. This is a genuine spiritual transaction taking place at the deepest level of reality. You are actually transferring your burdens to a higher wisdom, a greater love, a more expansive consciousness that is perfectly capable of holding what feels too heavy for you. The revelation that changes everything is recognizing that you were never meant to carry these financial burdens alone. The universe is designed as a collaborative experience. When you try to figure everything out through your limited perspective, you cut yourself off from the infinite intelligence that's always available to guide you. This release practice reopens that essential connection. This is the hidden dimension of prosperity that most wealth teachings miss entirely. True abundance flows not from desperate striving and constant worry, but from a state of peaceful partnership with the divine. You're shifting from a paradigm of control to one of trust, from isolation to connection, from fear to faith. You're choosing to enter sleep from a state of surrender rather than struggle. I experienced the power of this practice firsthand during the darkest period of my life. My business was collapsing, my marriage was struggling, and my father was dying of cancer. Every night I would sit in my car before entering my house, overwhelmed by the magnitude of these challenges. It was in that car that I developed this release visualization. I would imagine handing each burden, the business problems, the relationship tensions, the grief to God one by one. The transformation was immediate and profound. I would walk into my home as a different person, not because my circumstances had changed, but because my relationship to them had fundamentally shifted. I would sleep in peace, even in the midst of the storm. And I would wake up with the clarity and strength to face another day, often with insights and solutions that weren't available to my stressed mind the night before. This release practice doesn't mean your financial challenges magically disappear. What disappears is your isolated relationship with them. You're no longer facing them alone from a perspective of limitation and fear. You're inviting in a higher wisdom, a greater love, a more expansive vision to participate in finding solutions that your worried mind cannot see. If you recognize how this practice of sacred surrender might transform your relationship with your financial challenges, type peaceful partnership in the comments. Let me share a deeply personal chapter from my own journey that reveals the transformative power of this release practice. There was a period in my life when it seemed as though everything was crumbling simultaneously. My business ventures were failing one after another. My marriage had become a landscape of tension and misunderstanding, rather than support. And most devastatingly, my father, my rock, my mentor, my greatest believer, was in the final stages of cancer. I would drive home each evening feeling as though I was drowning under the weight of these combined burdens. The anxiety was so intense it manifested physically. Chest tightness, shallow breathing, a constant knot in my stomach. Sleep had become nearly impossible. I would lie awake until 3 or 4 inches the morning, my mind racing through worst-case scenarios, calculating and recalculating financial figures that never balanced, rehearsing arguments and grieving losses that hadn't even fully happened yet. It was during this darkest valley that I discovered the profound power of intentional release. Each night before entering my home, I would sit in my car in the driveway and practice this exact visualization. I would acknowledge each burden, the mounting business debt, the painful silence between my husband and me, the impending loss of my father, and one by one place them at God's feet. I would surrender what I could not control, what I could not solve through worry, what was simply too heavy for me to carry through the night. The revelation that changed everything was that this wasn't about escaping my problems. It was about changing my relationship to them. I wasn't denying their reality. I was recognizing that my constant, anxious preoccupation with them was not serving their resolution. I was choosing to enter my home and my sleep from a state of peace and trust rather than panic and control. One particularly significant moment stands out in my memory. I had received a call from the bank earlier that day. They were threatening to foreclose on one of my investment properties. A situation involving $120,000 of debt that I simply couldn't see a way out of. The pressure was crushing. That night in my car, I held this specific burden in my visualization, feeling its immense weight, and then with great intentionality, placed it at God's feet. "This is too big for me," I whispered. "I don't know how to fix this, but I trust that you do. I'm giving this to you completely." The miracle wasn't that the debt magically disappeared overnight. The miracle was that I slept deeply and peacefully for the first time in months. And when I woke the next morning, a solution appeared in my mind with such clarity that it felt like it had been downloaded while I slept. I saw a restructuring approach for the property that I hadn't considered before. With newfound confidence, I called the bank, proposed this alternative arrangement, and they agreed. The property was saved. Was this divine intervention? Perhaps. Or maybe it was simply that when I released the stranglehold of anxiety, my mind could finally access its natural creativity and problem-solving capacity. Perhaps the solution had been there all along but was inaccessible to my stress-flooded brain. What I know with certainty is that the release created the conditions for the breakthrough. If you've ever experienced a moment when surrendering a problem led to an unexpected solution appearing, type divine creativity in the comments. Now we arrive at the most powerful component of our ritual: reprogram. After you've reviewed the good and released the bad, the garden of your subconscious is primed and ready. The soil is fertile. It's time to plant the seed of your desired future. This final 2-minute practice is where the true alchemy of transformation occurs. You've cleared away the weeds of lack consciousness through your abundance review. You've removed the rocks and debris of worry through your release practice. Now you get to intentionally choose what will grow in this sacred mental space while you sleep. The wisdom of this approach extends back thousands of years. In biblical tradition, we see a profound understanding of the spiritual significance of dreams and nighttime consciousness. Joseph was known as a master of dreams, interpreting them for Pharaoh and receiving divine guidance through his own dream experiences. Jacob received his vision of the ladder to heaven during sleep. God spoke to Solomon in a dream, offering him wisdom beyond measure. Daniel received prophetic revelations while in dream states. The ancients understood something that modern society has largely forgotten. The night is a time of profound spiritual receptivity. It's when the veil between the physical and spiritual realms grows thinnest. It's when your soul has access to wisdom, insight, and creative solutions that your conscious mind simply cannot reach during waking hours. What makes this understanding so revolutionary for wealth creation is recognizing that your subconscious mind doesn't sleep when you do. While your conscious mind rests, your subconscious continues working throughout the night. It processes the events of the day, solves problems, makes connections, and most importantly, it creates your reality based on the instructions you give it before sleep. The hidden tragedy is that most people give their subconscious mind terrible instructions right before bed. Their final thoughts are often, "I'm so broke. This debt is crushing me. I'll never get ahead financially. My business is failing." And their faithful subconscious responds, "Your wish is my command," proceeding to solidify these very conditions in their experience. The reprogram practice flips this pattern completely. In these final 2 minutes before sleep, you'll give your subconscious a clear, powerful, positive instruction about your financial future. You'll plant a seed so compelling that your mind will work all night long to bring it into reality. This isn't random or mystical. It's how your consciousness naturally functions. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. It simply responds to the impressions you give it. By providing a clear, positive financial vision as your final mental input of the day, you're essentially giving your internal creation mechanism its marching orders for the night. Think of it this way. Your mind is like an unsupervised construction crew that works the night shift. If you don't give them clear blueprints, they'll just keep building whatever they've been building, usually more financial struggle. The reprogram practice is about providing precise, inspiring blueprints for the prosperity you want to create. If you're beginning to see how your nighttime thoughts might be sabotaging your financial future, type nighttime blueprint in the comments. Let me reveal a fundamental truth about your mind that changes everything about wealth creation. Your subconscious doesn't sleep when you do. While your conscious mind powers down for rest, your subconscious, which represents roughly 95% of your total mental capacity, remains fully operational throughout the night. It's like the ultimate background processor working tirelessly while your awareness is offline. During these precious hours of sleep, your subconscious engages in extraordinary activities. It's processing the events of your day, consolidating memories, solving problems that stumped your waking mind, making connections between seemingly unrelated ideas, and most critically, it's creating your reality based on the instructions you've given it. It takes your dominant thoughts, especially those final impressions before sleep, and begins weaving them into your experience. The revelation that transforms financial destinies is understanding that this nighttime mental activity isn't random or chaotic. It's directed. Your subconscious is incredibly faithful to your instructions, but it lacks the ability to filter or judge those instructions. It doesn't distinguish between what serves your highest good and what sabotages your prosperity. It simply says yes to whatever blueprint you provide. And here's where most people make a devastating mistake that keeps them trapped in financial struggle. They feed their subconscious mind terrible instructions right before bed. Their final thoughts as they drift off to sleep are, "I'm so broke. I'll never get out of this debt. Money is always tight for me. The economy is terrible. I can't afford what I really want." Your subconscious, ever faithful, responds with, "Your wish is my command. Broke. It is. Debt. It is. Struggle. It is." It then spends the next 8 hours strengthening these exact neural pathways and seeking evidence to confirm these beliefs. It filters your perceptions, guides your decisions, and orchestrates circumstances to create precisely the financial reality you've instructed it to build, one of limitation and lack. The metamorphosis begins when you deliberately flip this pattern. Instead of unconsciously programming financial struggle, you consciously program prosperity. You give your subconscious mind clear, positive, empowering instructions about your financial future. You provide it with a compelling vision of abundance that it can work all night to manifest. This isn't magical thinking. It's working with the actual architecture of your consciousness. Your subconscious responds to mental imagery, emotion, and repetition. When you provide a vivid, emotionally charged vision of your desired financial state as your final mental input before sleep, you're essentially redirecting the entire force of your nighttime mental activity toward prosperity rather than poverty. Think of it as reprogramming your mental operating system. Most people are running on a scarcity program they didn't consciously choose. It was installed through early childhood experiences, cultural conditioning, media consumption, and their own habitual thought patterns. The reprogram practice allows you to deliberately install an abundance program that aligns with your true desires rather than your unconscious fears. If you're beginning to see how the final thoughts before sleep might be the hidden key to your financial breakthrough? Type conscious reprogramming in the comments. Now, let me share the exact visualization technique for this final reprogram component. This is where so many abundance practices fall short. They treat visualization as wishful thinking or mere fantasy. But effective reprogramming requires a specific approach that speaks directly to your subconscious in its native language. For these final 2 minutes before sleep, you're going to visualize your desired financial outcome, but not as a wish, not as a hope, not as, something you're striving toward. You're going to visualize it as a memory from the future that has already happened. This subtle shift makes all the difference in how your subconscious processes the information. When you approach visualization as a wish, I hope to be debt-free someday, your subconscious interprets this as something distant and unreal. But when you visualize as a memory, I am debt-free, and it feels amazing, your subconscious accepts this as a reality it needs to align with. You're essentially creating a cognitive dissonance between your current financial situation and this vivid memory. A dissonance your subconscious will work to resolve while you sleep. The catalyst for transformation is making this visualization as sensory-rich and emotionally charged as possible. Don't visualize the process of paying off debt. That just reinforces the existence of debt. Instead, visualize holding the final paid in full notice in your hands. Feel the weight of the say paper. See the words paid in full clearly stamped in red. Feel the profound relief washing through your body. Feel the lightness in your chest. Feel the smile spreading across your face. If your goal is a thriving business, don't visualize the struggle to build it. Visualize looking at your bank account and seeing the specific revenue goal you've hit. See the exact numbers. Feel the sense of accomplishment. Visualize happy clients sending you messages of gratitude. See your team celebrating a significant milestone. Feel the pride of creation. The hidden truth that accelerates manifestation is focusing on just one vision at a time. Many people dilute their mental energy by visualizing 10 different goals simultaneously. But the subconscious responds best to clarity and specificity. Choose the one financial outcome that matters most to you right now. Make it crystal clear. Make it vivid. Make it feel real. This concentrated focus is like a laser beam rather than a diffuse flashlight. All of your mental energy is directed toward one powerful outcome rather than scattered across multiple desires. This creates a coherence in your consciousness that dramatically amplifies your manifestation power. Behind the scenes of every significant wealth breakthrough is this practice of singular focus, the ability to hold one clear vision with unwavering attention until it materializes. The most successful entrepreneurs and investors aren't necessarily the most talented. They're often the most focused. They plant one seed deeply rather than scattering seeds everywhere with shallow roots. When you select your vision for tonight's practice, choose something that genuinely resonates with your heart, not just your logical mind. The emotional component is critical because your subconscious responds primarily to emotion, not logic. It needs to feel the desire, the joy, the relief, the excitement of your manifested outcome. If you're feeling a particular financial vision calling to you for tonight's practice, type future memory activated in the comments. Let me reveal the most critical element that determines whether your visualization practice succeeds or fails: emotion. This is where the science of manifestation intersects with the art of creation. Your subconscious mind doesn't primarily respond to logical arguments or rational plans. It responds to the language of emotion. It's moved by feeling, not thinking. This is why so many vision boards and affirmation practices produce disappointing results. They engage the intellect but fail to activate the emotional centers that truly drive subconscious programming. When you visualize your desired financial outcome, the intellectual component, seeing the images, understanding the concept, is only the foundation. The transformative power comes when you infuse that visualization with genuine emotion. Your subconscious doesn't just need to see your prosperity, it needs to feel it. This emotional imprint is what catalyzes the internal shift from scarcity to abundance at the deepest levels of your being. Think about a memory that evokes strong positive feelings, perhaps holding your child for the first time, achieving a significant milestone, or experiencing a moment of profound beauty. Notice how the mere thought of this memory produces immediate physiological changes. Perhaps a smile forms, your breathing shifts, or warmth spreads through your chest. This is the power of emotion-infused mental law imagery, and it's exactly what we're harnessing in the reprogram practice. As you hold your prosperity vision in mind before sleep, deliberately generate and amplify the emotions you would feel if this outcome were already your reality. Feel the profound relief of being debt-free. Feel the expansive confidence of financial security. Feel the quiet joy of abundance that allows you to be generous. Feel the deep peace of knowing your future is provided for. These emotions aren't just decorative elements. They're the actual coding language that your subconscious understands and responds to. To anchor this emotional visual blueprint even more powerfully, you'll add a simple verbal declaration, a seed statement that encapsulates your desired outcome. The formula for this declaration is elegantly simple yet extraordinarily powerful. I am so happy and grateful now, that followed by your accomplished goal stated in present tense as if it has already happened. For example, I am so happy and grateful now that I am completely debt-free. I am so happy and grateful now that my business is generating $10,000 per month in passive income. I am so happy and grateful now that I have $50,000 in my savings account. Notice the precise structure of this declaration. I am present tense, claiming it as current reality, so happy and grateful. Embedding the emotional quality directly in the statement, now that anchoring it in the present moment, not the future. Then you state the accomplished outcome as a completed reality, not as a process or a wish. This declaration serves as verbal reinforcement for your visualization. As you repeat it slowly and with genuine feeling during those final moments before sleep, you're essentially providing your subconscious with a complete set of instructions, visual, emotional, and verbal, for the prosperity blueprint it will work with throughout the night. If you're feeling the power of emotion as the true language of subconscious transformation, type emotional blueprint in the comments. Let me share with you a remarkable transformation that illustrates the power of this reprogramming practice. One of my students, Rachel, had harbored a dream of writing a book for nearly a decade. She had the concept, the expertise, and the passion, but found herself perpetually stuck in a creative paralysis that writers call block. For years, she would sit down at her computer only to stare at a blank screen, overwhelmed by self-doubt, criticism, and fear. Each night, Rachel would go to bed thinking, I'm such a failure. I'll never finish this book. Real authors don't struggle like this. Her subconscious, ever faithful, manifested exactly this reality. Morning after morning, she would wake up with her creativity still locked away, her confidence further diminished, her dreams seemingly impossible. When Rachel learned this ritual, something profound shifted in her journey. Each night, Instead of reinforcing her identity as a blocked writer, she began visualizing herself holding her finished, published book in her hands. She felt the weight of it. She traced her finger over her name on the cover. She flipped through the pages and saw her words in print. She imagined the smell of fresh ink on paper. She visualized standing in a bookstore, seeing her creation on the shelf. And as she drifted off to sleep, she repeated her declaration, "I am so happy and grateful now that I am a published author whose work touches thousands of lives." Rachel told me later that the first few nights felt like she was engaging in an elaborate fantasy, almost a lie. Her critical mind screamed at her, "Who are you kidding? You haven't even finished a chapter. This is delusional." But she persisted, understanding that she was speaking directly to her subconscious in its native language of emotion and imagery. The watershed moment came after about a week of consistent practice. Rachel began waking up with ideas, sentences, chapter outlines, creative inspirations that seemed to download while she slept. Her subconscious, given a new blueprint, was now working for her rather than against her. The words began to flow. The characters developed dimension. The structure clarified itself. Within 90 days of beginning this nightly practice, Rachel had completed her full manuscript, something she hadn't been able to accomplish in years of trying. 6 months later, she secured a publishing deal. And a year after that, her dream materialized completely. Her book was on the shelves at Barnes & Noble. She hadn't worked harder. She had slept smarter. This is the essence of the 7-in-Ute ritual we've explored together. 3 minutes of review to train your perception to recognize abundance that's already present. 2 minutes of release to enter sleep from a place of peace rather than anxiety. And 2 minutes of reprogram to plant the seed of your desired financial future in the fertile garden of your subconscious. I invite you to commit to this practice for 30 consecutive days. This isn't a magic pill. It's a spiritual discipline. It's mental hygiene. It's the inner work you do in the darkness that allows you to shine in the light. Most people leave their most powerful asset, their subconscious mind, to chance or default programming. They feed it garbage and wonder why their life is a mess. But not you. Starting tonight, you're going to be intentional. You're going to be disciplined. You're going to command your mind. And in doing so, command your destiny. The battle for your wealth, your health, your happiness is won or lost in the 7 minutes before you go to sleep. Through this practice, you're choosing to win. If you're committing to this 30-day journey of transformation, type "I am committed" in the comments below. Now, as we bring this wisdom to a close, I want to acknowledge you for investing this time in your financial transformation. This 7-minute ritual isn't just a technique. It's a doorway to a completely new relationship with wealth and abundance. And the beautiful truth is that you already possess everything you need to begin this journey tonight. The ancient mystics understood what modern science is now confirming. Those precious moments before sleep hold extraordinary power for reshaping your destiny. By consciously designing those final thoughts through review, release, and reprogram, you're reclaiming control of the most potent manifestation period in your daily cycle. If this teaching has illuminated something for you today, if you feel called to begin this 30-day journey, please leave me a comment with the words "Divine Sleep Activated," so I know you're committed to this path. Your declaration makes it real, both for you and for our community of abundance seekers. And if you found value in today's teaching, gently press that like button, not for my sake, but as a signal to the algorithm that this ancient wisdom deserves to reach others who might be struggling with the same financial patterns you've been working to transform. Of course, I'd be honored to have you join our prosperity community by subscribing. Next week, I'll be revealing the perfect complement to this evening ritual, the 3-second morning habit that made me millions. Together, these two practices create a powerful container for your day, bookending your waking hours with intentional abundance programming. There's a video right here that explains the abundance mindset principles that make this ritual even more powerful. Click and continue with me there as we deepen your understanding of prosperity consciousness and accelerate your journey to financial freedom. Until we meet again, remember that true wealth begins in those final moments before sleep. Sweet dreams of abundance to you, my friend. Thank you.